Well, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Leadership Edge. I'm your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder. I am so glad that you've tuned in today. This is a great day, the day that the Lord has made, another Tuesday and another episode of the Leadership Edge. Now, I want you to know that this podcast is dedicated to leadership, all things leadership, okay? We talk about leadership from every perspective. We don't proclaim to know everything. We know a few things. And so it's our desire to give you that edge, principles and nuggets to help you be a better leader and lead in the arena that you are assigned to. Now, before we get into what we're going to talk about tonight, again, I want to remind you, you're watching me on BGTV Studios, Facebook and YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit the like and the follow button, as well as the share. We love for you to share it. And the reason we ask you to share is because, everybody has a different sphere of influence. Everybody's tributaries flow differently in terms of our ability to share. So if you share it, it allows us to go places we would normally be able to go, okay? So go ahead and do that, and we'll appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, or even if you're not watching on YouTube, at the end of the podcast, go to YouTube, BGTV Studios, YouTube, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? We want to build up our subscriber list. God is really blessing BGTV Studios, and you are helping make it happen. And you can also help us by hitting that subscribe button and talk about us and share us with a friend or two, okay? Thank you for those things. All right, let's talk leadership. Now, we started talking 2 weeks ago, and we had two sessions on it 2 weeks ago and then last week. And we're talking about leadership development through mentoring. We did parts 1 and 2. And so this will be part 3, leadership development through mentoring, okay? As I stated in the past, mentoring is a buzzword out there nowadays. Everybody's talking about mentoring and all of that stuff, and it's good. I'm going to get into some things in just a moment, but remember we were talking about, I believe that mentoring, the highest level and mentoring at its best, involves interpersonal relationships. In other words, that means that we meet face to face. We talk face to face, okay? Our interactions are face to face. We have a personal connection. That is the ultimate of mentoring. Now, I've heard people say this, and I hear ministers say it sometimes, that let's say they followed a certain minister that they like, and they followed his books, and they read his book, listened to his CDs or tapes or downloads, whatever he has. You may have watched his YouTube videos, whatever. You never met him. You never had one personal interaction with him. I mean, you may have met him at a conference or something, shook his hand, but y'all don't have a personal relationship. You don't talk to him. You can't call him with a question. And so they say, well, I was mentored through so-and-so. Let's just say Tony Evans, okay? He's somebody like Kenneth Hagin. You read their books, you listen to their tapes, and you got a lot, and so you kind of followed their ministries from afar. Well, technically, that could be what some people call mentoring a type, but it's not the ultimate best. Here's why. Because in those situations, you're only getting information. You get information from the person's repertoire of knowledge and wisdom that they've gained over the years. You get their CDs, their tapes, their books. You get information. Mentoring involves much more than information, okay? Here's the difference. If you've been mentored by someone through their ministry, their books, their tapes, they can't hold you accountable. One of the key components, we're going to talk about that in a moment, one of the key components of mentoring is accountability. Well, you can't be held accountable by someone that you don't know or you have no personal interaction with. So that right there nullifies a tremendous part of the mentoring process, okay? So I believe, and when I'm talking about leadership development through mentoring, I want you to understand who I'm talking about, P. Ronald Wilder, the Leadership Edge. When we use the term mentoring, we're talking about person-to-person mentoring, okay? There is personal relationship. There is interaction. There is face-to-face meetings. There is conversation. There is asking of questions. There's all of the things that good mentoring should involve, okay? That's what we're talking about here. We're not discounting the others. I'm just simply saying that is not the ultimate. That is not God's best. That is at best a C or lower than a C, but it's not an A, all right? All right, so let's go further into what we've been talking about, leadership development through mentoring. Now, again, for there to be mentoring, there has to be two people involved. There's the mentor and there's the mentee. The mentor is the one who is pouring into another. The mentee is the one who is following the mentor. So there's a mentor and a mentee. For there to be a proper mentoring relationship, got to be both parties, a mentor and a mentee, okay? As a leader, ultimately, it's best in every one of our lives, we need to be a mentor, and in some aspect, we need to be a mentee also. At the same time I'm mentoring, I'm also being mentored, okay? That is the ultimate. Now, all right, let's look at 7 things that, last week we talked about, last 2 weeks we talked about the things a good mentor provides, okay? If you want to go back and listen to those 2 podcasts, we give some good information there. I won't recapitulate over it here on this particular day, but it was pretty good. Now, in addition to what a mentor provides, I want to talk today about what a mentor gives. Amen. A good mentor. And if you are a mentee looking to be mentored by someone to help your leadership develop, then these are the things that mentor should give you, okay? Let's start off. Number 1 is accountability. There is no true mentor-mentee relationship without accountability, okay? That simply means that the mentor holds the mentee responsible to their commitments, whether that commitment be to God, first to God, to their family, to their ministry, to their church, to their business, whatever area involved, is holding you to your commitments, all right? Because every one of us have certain commitments. I personally, as a leadership trainer, consultant, guru, expert, whatever you want to call me, and I've mentored and in the process of mentoring people right now, but I will not mentor anybody who I cannot hold accountable. If they will not put themselves in a position to be held accountable, then I will not mentor. I will not enter into a mentor relationship with them, because the hallmark of mentoring is accountability. How can I develop you? How can I help you if I can't hold you to your commitments? If we can't make certain, matter of fact, in any mentoring relationship, at the beginning of it, we gonna lay out the rules of what that mentor, and you being held accountable to that. All right? So, but again, and accountability is very important. Now let me show you something. I'm in ministry, okay? And I pastor a non-denominational church. And one of the things we see happen in non-denominational situations that's a little different from traditionals, because traditional churches are set up to where they have boards and things of that nature. And so the pastor has a great deal of accountability. He's accountable to that board. He can't run roughshod and do whatever he wants to do. He's held accountable. Many times in non-denominational situations, the pastor's really the founder of the church. And so he sets it up to where he's in charge. And I'm not knocking that. But you have to put restraints on yourself. You have to put yourself in a position where you have someone that holds you accountable, where you don't have absolute power. Well, what did the philosophers say? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. If you have absolute power and no one to check you, then you will be corrupt. You will corrupt because you will do whatever you want to do because you know that there are no restraints and there's nobody to check you. And in a fallen state, man does not have the ability to handle absolute power. We don't. The best of us. It could be I've known good people, good men, who started out real good, but absolute power messed them up. Absolute power corrupted them. Absolute power will corrupt me if I put myself in that position. It's just the norm. It is just like that in a fallen world. So the bottom line, what I'm saying is we all need accountability. We all need somebody to hold our feet to the carpet. You know, I have people I submit to that hold me accountable. That they have every right to check me when they see me getting off or if they get a report that I'm off. And the people that I'm accountable to, my wife has a right to call them if I start violating our marriage covenant in any kind of way. She can call them and say, "Hey, your boy is acting up. You need to talk to him." You know, and that's accountability. Yeah, and I put myself there, and I give her that right, and vice versa. Why? Because again, here's the main thing. Listen to people. Listen to me. The only people who reject accountability are people that don't want to do the right thing. Because if you want to do the right thing, you welcome accountability. You want them restraints. You want, as Jack Nick said in A Few Good Men, you need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. And when you want to do what's right, you want people on that wall. Because none of us, in our fallen state, in a fleshly body we in, that is still marred by the effects of sin, we are all subject to go awry if there's no one to check us. So the first thing a good mentor will do is hold you accountable. And everyone that I mentor, the first thing I do is I look at their marriage and I watch how they treat their wives. And I'm going to hold them accountable there. Because if you're not taking care of her, if you're not treating that right, it doesn't matter with the other stuff. Because your first leadership and your first ministry is at your house. And if you'll treat your wife wrong, you'll treat your church wrong. You'll treat your business wrong. You'll treat your employees wrong. It's just the nature of the beast. So I hold them accountable. I hold them accountable right there. So a good mentor, he's just there to hold you accountable. He can't live your life, but he's there to hold you true to your commitment to God. And he'll ask you about him. Hey, how's your relationship with God? How's your prayer life? How's your family? How's you and your wife relationship? That's what they do. See, accountability involves asking the tough questions. Again, this is why I said a minute ago that being mentored through someone's ministry, through their books, they can't ask you the tough questions. But a mentor will ask you the right questions. It's accountability. It's accountability, you know. I even do this in my friendship. I have key friendships. We are peer level. We're not in a mentor. We're not in a mentor-mentee relationship. We're just peer. We're on the same level, but we're best of friends. And we give each other the right to hold each of us accountable to what we do. You know. If I have a friend and I see he treating his wife wrong, hey, I'm going to tell you, hey, man, you're not treating your wife right. You're not handling home right. You need to get that straight. What's going on? I'm going to ask tough questions. And if we truly friends, guess what? Our friendship can last the tough questions. The tough questions will not destroy the friendship. If the tough questions do, then there's been a breach in the relationship anyway. So a good mentor will, first of all, hold you accountable. So look for that. And if he's not holding you accountable, trust me, he's not a good mentor. Because a good mentor, why? Because here's the deal. A good mentor wants to see you succeed. That's his whole purpose. That's his whole purpose. He ain't trying to hold you down. He wants you to be successful. As a matter of fact, if he's a good mentor, he wants you to exceed him. You know, I, in this age of spiritual fathers and sons, I've seen, and it's a biblical principle. I love it. I'm a father and I'm a son at the same time. Okay, but I've seen cases where the spiritual fathers got jealous of the spiritual sons as they exceeded. Well, that's wrong. I want every spiritual son I have to exceed me. As a matter of fact, here's my goal. Here's my goal. I want my ceiling, the highest I can go, I want my ceiling to be their floor. So where I stop at, that's where they start at. That's what I want. I don't want them not exceeding me. I want them to exceed me. Okay, and I'm gonna do everything I can to put them in a position to do that. And that's what a good mentor wants. He wants you to be successful, but he knows that you cannot be successful if he cannot hold you accountable, if he cannot ask you the tough questions, if he cannot prod into the personal areas of your life. Okay, so allow them to do that. So don't knock accountability. I've known people that claim someone was their mentor until their mentor had to, jack them up or hold them to the carpet on certain things. They didn't like it, so they went and found another one. Well, that's not the answer, jumping from mentor to mentor because someone held you accountable. The issue is not them, it's you. You don't want accountability. Okay, I have always lived my life in ministry and in leadership as one under accountability. I want someone to speak into my life. Why? Because I can't see everything. We all have blind spots, okay? Next thing that a mentor will give you is he'll give you affirmation. Now, what's affirmation? Affirmation involves speaking words of encouragement, love, and support. See, not only is a good mentor going to hold you accountable and correct you when you do wrong, but they're also going to speak words of encouragement. They're going to let you know that you are anointed of God. You are gifted. You have greatness inside of you. Okay, as my friend Bishop Larry Ragland says, great book. You need to get it. You have greatness inside of you. They're going to tell you that. They're going to speak to your greatness. They're going to speak to the gifts and callings. They're not going to put you down. They're not going to say you ain't going to be nothing. That is not what a mentor does. He is going to speak words of affirmation. He's going to speak words of love and support. He's going to let you know, I am with you. I'm with you in the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm with you when you're up. I'm with you when you're down. You're going to always know that he's going to give you affirmation. And you know what? I found out that that's really the problem with many people is that they grow up, and we grew up in a generation where the generation prior to us didn't know how to speak words of affirmation. So many people never got those words spoken to them. And that was never fulfilled in their life, okay? And as a result, they have a defect at their life now, So you have to speak words of affirmation, even as parents over your children. Always affirm, yes, correct them when they mess up. Discipline when they need discipline. That's all right. Okay, but affirmation needs to follow the discipline. Affirmation needs to follow the correction. Okay, not immediately, but on down the road. After they, snotted and cried a little bit, then come back and give words of affirmation. And it's the same with a mentee. I've had people that I've mentored, and I've had to correct them, rebuke them, but after it was over, I would come back at another time and say, hey, let me affirm you. I did that because I love you. I did that because I see greatness in you. I see where God wants to take you. You are gifted beyond measure. Okay, but that could have been a problem if I didn't speak to it. So a good mentor will give you words of affirmation, words of encouragement. They will affirm your strengths, okay? They will affirm you they'll affirm your strengths and all of these things. So open your heart to receive affirmation. If you were someone that always putting you down, always putting limits on you and saying this, then you're probably not with the right mentee. Okay? You're not with the right mentor, because a good mentor will make you feel better about yourself every time you leave them. Okay. Even when they have to hold you accountable, you're going to still leave there feeling a sense of satisfaction. Okay? So, now, another thing that a good mentor will give you is he will give you assessments. Okay? He will give you assessments. What is an assessment? Assessment involves evaluating where you are and giving an assessment of what you see. So, in other words, it's me looking at you and say, hey, you look at my mentor and say, where do you want to go? And I'm going to tell you where I see where you are. Here's the assessment of where you are, and here's what I see. You know, as I often said on these programs, I do Alabama high school softball. As a matter of fact, at the time that you see this particular, to see now, I'm in the midst of the state tournament already, okay? And so I'm doing that. But a lot of times, because I'm a senior level umpire, I train. So I have a game with an umpire, and at the end of the game, I'll give him an assessment of where his game is. He said he'll say, they all call me Rev. He said, Rev, I want to move here. I want to make the playoffs. I want to make the region. I want to make the state. That's okay. That's possible. I've been where you are. But now let me tell you where you are and what you got to do. That's what assessment is. I'll say to him, listen, I watched your game today. Here are 3 things I saw. You need to work on these 3 things. And I will assess where they are. Now, you're not ready yet mechanically, okay, because of this, but that's okay. We're going to work on it. So here's the next few games, I want you to work on these things so that the next time I call a game with you, I want to see you improved on them, okay? So here's where you are. Here's where you want to go. Here's what I see, okay? And as a result, in most cases, they did what I said, and in most cases, they've come up and made the playoffs and did those things. It's an assessment. It's giving you an honest view of where they are. That honest view is not always acceptable. Some people they don't want an honest view. They want you to tell them something that's not true, okay? In my growth as an umpire, every time I did a game, I would say, hey, how did I do? What do you see? Even now, at the level I'm at, when I'll do a state level game, and I'll call another guy, and I'll say, hey, what you see? How's my plate game? Was my strike zone good? Was my zone good? Hey, was my movements good? I still want assessments, because you cannot grow without getting assessments. A mentor will give you assessments. He will tell you where you are in your leadership, in your ministry, in your growth. He'll tell you what he sees. Here is what I see. I've had people, I've told them what I see, and they totally rejected it. Well, I knew at that point that that's not a person that our relationship as far as a mentor-mentee can go any further. Because here's the attitude. Even if my mentor told me something and I didn't see it, I wouldn't reject it. Especially if it's a mentor that I got a relationship. I wouldn't reject it. I would just say, Lord, I don't see what they're saying. Open my eyes, help me to see. Because sometimes it's just you're blocked by certain things, and and in time I will see what this. I said, oh, that's what they were talking about. But to outright reject it, then that says something again about your attitude, your heart, and relationship. But a mentor will give you what they see. Assessment. Here's what assessment is good for. Assessments enables me, or enables you as a mentee, to gain perspective from an outside point of view. So I'm giving you perspective from an outside point of view. Okay? I'm outside looking at you. You think everything is fine because you can only see what you see in the inside. But now I'm off. I have panoramic view. I can see the whole picture. So my assessment is, I see the picture, and here's what we got. It gives you an outside view. It gives you a view that you don't have. And that's what a good mentor will give you, a true assessment. Now, once they give you the assessment, They'll also give you a plan of action to help you to get where you want to go based on what they see and what you need to do. Okay? That's what mentors do. Listen, time is up for this week. Man, I enjoyed this. Remember the three things we talked about today: accountability, affirmation, and assessment. Stay accountable, receive the word, look for the words of affirmation, and be open to receive assessment of where you truly are. Okay, we pick up right here on next week. Now listen, don't forget, visit my website, www.pronaldwilder.com. On my page, you will find different things, but the main thing I want you to look at is my shop page. You can get my book there, ABC's Leadership. You see it on the bottom of the screen there. It's a great book. It's been out about 10 years now, and it's still hot and moving. It'll help in your leadership development. On my shop page, you will find all of my leadership teachings there. You can get those. A lot of what I talk about here is on there, but I go into detail in those sessions that we did at our church. And so go ahead and shop there, and you can download those teachings, have them on your devices. The best buy is the bundle package. It's on the Jump Drive. The Jump Drive is on the website. Every leadership teaching on there is on there for less than half the price if you bought everything else. So avail yourself to, amen, my website. Again, it's www.pronaldwilder.com. Last thing I want to say before we go is that you're watching me on BGTV Studios. This is a tremendous platform that God has raised up. It has given people like me a voice to be heard, and this platform is spreading and growing. But it needs your support. It is totally generated ran, okay? I want you to consider making a donation to BGTV Studios, either a one-time gift or a monthly gift. 100% of what you give will go directly to the BGTV Studios. We, the podcasters, receive nothing from it, okay? So it's on the screen for you. You can give online at bgtstudios.com. That's bgtvstudios.com. Or you can text any amount to 84321. You can give there. Go ahead and do that. God will bless you. This is good ground. You can get a heart from this ground, and you help BGTV Studios continue to spread, to grow, and develop. Appreciate you there. Listen, my time is up. See you next Tuesday. We'll pick back up right here. Signing off, this is your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder, reminding you that leadership matters and leaders lead. I'll see you on next Tuesday.